We are now joined by U.S. men's national team defender Reggie, and we'll start with questions and begin with Stephen Goff.
Hey Reggie, thanks for your time. What with this group of guys, expectations are very high. Not just this friendly, but obviously the Nations League next week, and then qualifying starts. What's the pressure, or how would you describe the expectation on this young core group of players going forward?
Yeah, I think obviously everyone's very excited about the pool that we have and the age, especially. Some of the youngest guys playing at some of the biggest clubs in the world, and I think we kind of have to manage our expectations because at the end of the day, it is a lot of potential, and this group hasn't had much time to work together. And we're having a lot of guys come in from different types of seasons. We're having guys battle relegation. We're having two guys playing in the Champions League final tomorrow. It's obviously two different worlds and a big group. So I think we kind of have to manage our expectations because we have the utmost expectations to win the Nations League. That's our goal. First Switzerland, and then obviously Honduras, and hopefully Mexico. Obviously to simulate World Cup qualifying, we have a lot coming up, but especially with the young age, I think it's important to find the solidarity of the group. This group is only going to go as far as everyone together, especially the weakest link. So I think everyone has to be tightly knit. Obviously we have a lot of talent, but it's also important to be one solid unit, one group, go out against any opponent and have no fear. So I think, a lot of guys are going to have that opportunity to do that this camp.
Next will be Paul Tenorio from The Athletic.
Thanks, Michael, and thanks, Reggie. I just wondered if you could reflect on your year at Boa Vista, what it maybe did for you as an individual, what you've learned, and also kind of the flip side of being in Europe that, you get through a good season and immediately there's speculation about what that means for you. Are you moving? Are you staying? Where are you moving? And how you're kind of approaching the summer window with all of that in the back of your mind, I'm sure, or maybe the front of your mind.
Yeah, I've obviously communicated with Greg a lot during this year because this was a very up and down year in terms of standings and relegation battles and everything. But, honestly, I've learned so much about myself this year, about football, about what I'm capable of, more so than, just going to a big club and not playing at all. Playing every single game at Boa Vista, realizing the European mentality. It's helped make me so strong this year and ultimately made me a better player and a better man, and that's exactly what I wanted from this move. Obviously, there's a lot of speculation about what's going to happen this summer. I'm very excited for what's to come, but right now my focus is with Switzerland and then ultimately Nations League because, this group is going to go very far, and, there's not really time to focus on individual goals because this group is what's important. So obviously there's going to be obviously some rumors and everything going on. I feel I've learned so much this year that I am ready to get to that next level, but whatever comes my way, I'm going to be ready for it. But Boa Vista has served me well this year and given me a great platform to learn about myself and about European football as a whole. So obviously with these guys at camp, you have some of the like I said earlier, some of the youngest guys playing at Barcelona, Chelsea, Man City, such big clubs, and it's motivation for me to get to that next level because I'm learning from Serginho every day. I'm learning from Yedlin, Brian, Anthony, all the fullbacks. I could go on, but I think it's important to have that cohesiveness within the group, and that's what's going to make me great.
Be Ivis Galarcep from SBI Soccer.
The first one was about the defense and how it's coming together, just kind of learning each other and getting more experience together as a group. Second one is about Albert Elise, and have you guys had a chance to talk about bragging rights for this game and how that relationship's come along? You guys obviously had experience in the Texas Derby together. Now you got the chance to be teammates. What that relationship been like?
Yeah, from the defense perspective, there's a lot of relationships being built within this camp. Obviously with Mark McKenzie, Matt Miazga, John Brooks, Tim Ream, Anthony Robinson, me, Yedlin, Dest. There's so many names I could go on, but everyone's learning more and more about each other. Every day we're in camp. And I think that backline cohesiveness is something that's going to be very important to this team going forward, obviously, because we have such a strong attacking mindset. We have some of the best attacking talents in the world. But I think that next step is getting the defensive line to be able to give these attacking guys like Gio Reyna, Christian Pulisic, Weston, that confidence that, we're behind them. And, if they lose the ball, they make a mistake, that, they're going to be confident enough in us to play their game. Because a lot of this team revolves around freedom. As you see the way Serginho plays, Weston plays, having a game plan is always the way to go. But having that freedom is what gives these guys the strong power. And I think that's going to be very important going forward. And as far as Elish and I have talked very much about June 3rd with the rivalry. He's been talking about June 3rd for so long now, and so have I. We're talking about how excited we are for it because, we love competition. Elish had a great year at Boa Vista, and, I'm excited to see what he's learned and brought to the pitch, and, that's going to be an exciting challenge for me and everyone playing, and I think that's going to be the exciting part to take the next step. So, obviously, there's going to be a little rivalry there, but I think we're all going to be very excited for the opportunity.
Next will be Michele Giannone from Uniview.
Thank you, Michael. Hi, Reggie. How are you?
Good, thank you.
To just talk about the competition, especially in the right back position, can you take us the last 2 years? You got basically in at the last minute at the Gold Cup team in 2019, and since then you've owned the right back position. Can you take us through those 2 years and how you guys maybe you talk about learning from Serginho? In the last games, you've been the right back. Serginho has played on the left. What's your relationship and especially your growth as a player? Thank you.
Yeah, I've grown a lot over the past 2 years, and it just shows that, you always have to be ready for your opportunity. I was the last man. Someone got Tyler, ultimately came out of Gold Cup, and that gave me the opportunity to come in and, prove that I could play with the national team. That first January camp I got called up, I had a rough time. Mentally I was in a bad spot, but Greg encouraged me to keep going, and ultimately that shows how far you can go. I learned so much from DeAndre. He's one of those guys that he's teaching me something every day. I'm learning from him. I watched him. I studied him when I was coming up. Because he was very influential as an American fullback to show what an American fullback could do in this world, especially in European football. And then as far as Serginho and Brian Reynolds go, they're very attack-minded fullbacks, and that's something that obviously in my game I'm trying to work on, because defensive capabilities has always been my strong point. That's been something that since I was little that I've always just loved defending. That's been my strength. And what's going to give a player value is obviously their attacking capabilities as a fullback nowadays, because obviously the role of fullback is changing. I talked with DeAndre about that today. But I think it's important to have that depth and that competition within the group, because that's what's going to breed greatness. Having me competing with not only Serginho but Anthony on the other side of the field, because obviously Serginho can play both sides. That's what's gonna influence me to get to the next level, influence Anthony to get to the next level, influence Brian to get to the next level. We're such a talented group that it's all about having that cohesive unit and then having that internal competition to make us get better. And I've obviously learned so much over the past year from Serginho. Obviously the jumps he's made and the waves he's made, it's incredible. Even playing against him in camp, it's it's incredibly hard to defend him, everyone knows. And that's something that I'm learning every single day. So there's definitely a competition side of things in camp, but ultimately it's about growth, and this group is growing very well.
And Shredder from American Soccer Now.
Thank you very much, Michael, and thank you, Reggie. I just want to have a question about Justin Che. Obviously, someone you has a similar background, similar path. Obviously, he's a bit younger. Have you gotten a chance to know him? How has he done in camp, and what does he bring, and what have you seen so far from him? Being another kid out of the FC Dallas Academy.
Yeah, Justin is to me a really special case, because this is obviously the first time I met him, even though he's come up in the Dallas Academy. He's had a very similar path to Chris Richards, but seeing him in camp, he's incredibly talented. I think everyone here can vouch, how surprised they are he's coming in at such a young age, and even making a case to start against Switzerland, because he's such a technical center back. Even though he's young, he's learning how to defend at a high intensity while controlling the space in behind. He's a very good player, and I can see why Bayern wants him. He's a very interesting player, and Greg has even we've talked about it before that this kid is is something special in my eyes because he's at my table as well. So I've gotten to know him over the past couple of days. He has a good head on his shoulders, and he's a smart kid. He has good work ethic, and I think that's all the tools you need for greatness, especially with his talent and his abilities. And I think he's getting a lot more confidence as camp goes on, and that's something, obviously, with everyone's first camp, they're a little nervous, and, they got the butterflies, but he's a very confident kid, and to me, that really reflects his abilities and his talent. So I'm really excited to see him going forward, but I really think he's going to be something special in the future.
Little sneak preview, you'll see tomorrow in tomorrow's episode of Behind the Crest, he can score goals, too.
That he can.
Next will be Sanjay from the Yanks Are Coming.
Thanks, Michael. Thanks, Reggie. Speaking of FC Dallas exports, what's it been like to see Brian rise so quickly and get to Europe soon after you did? And now that he's in the mix right back to the national team, can you talk about your relationship with him and seeing his progress? And obviously, his dad had nothing but good things to say about you and your influence on him at FCB. So you talk about seeing him rise, but also competing with him and your relationship. Thanks.
Yeah, this is a great topic to talk about because as far as American fullbacks coming out of FC Dallas, I didn't really have that person in front of me to kind of give the stigma of making that jump and then having a successful season in Europe. And Brian is a very talented kid. I think he's got the most ahead of him, the best, brightest future ahead of him. And his work ethic is incredible. He has a great head on his shoulders, very smart kid, intelligent. And you see that, when an American becomes successful in Europe in such a short period of time, obviously there were those that came before me, but, people started looking in America, and especially in MLS, a lot quicker and are a lot more responsive to the talent it can bring because Brian has an incredible pool of potential. And the thing that I view as most important is the support because I didn't necessarily have that support system in Dallas for someone telling me I can get to that next level, I can make that jump overseas. I didn't have that trailblazer ahead of me. But when I was training with Dallas, playing games back-to-back with Dallas, and Brian was behind me, he would get down that he's not playing at such a young age, and he said, man, why am I not playing? I'm not good enough. I said, dude, keep your head up. I promise you. I couldn't tell him, obviously, about the transfer and everything, but I kept telling him, hey, once I leave, you're going to be next up. You have such a bright future ahead of you. You're so young. You're so talented. Just keep working hard. Every time you would get down, I would pick him back up. And I wanted him to take my spot because I knew he had a future with not only, European football, but with the national team. And I think that's what is going to make U.S. football, U.S. soccer great. Putting those selfish influences behind you and doing what's selfless because Brian obviously is my direct competition now, obviously coming from the same academy, same team, same club. That's what's going to make this team great. I push him now in camp. I pushed him at Dallas, and I'm not taking responsibility for any of his success, but having someone there for you is what really helps you make that jump and gets eyes on you. And Brian is such a talented kid, and I really, really know he's going to be successful in the future. But having that ability to motivate someone and get them to the next level is what ultimately brings internal happiness. So I'm happy to see him succeed in Europe, especially at Roma, especially such a tough club. So, I know he's got a bright future ahead of him, and I'm very excited to see what's to come.
Close with Reggie the same way we did with Tim. Reggie, the group will be together tomorrow night to watch the Champions League final. One American will lift the trophy. What will that be like, and what is your message?
It's a tale of two worlds because you want to root for, obviously you go into a game rooting for one team, but now we have two of our brightest players and best friends playing against each other in Champions League final, which is an incredible feat for Americans. So, we're very excited to see and watch the game. But to Zach and Christian, we're proud of you either way. Only one can come out on top, obviously, but we're very excited to watch you guys play. We know all that you've done for American soccer and, ultimately for us. And erasing the stigma that Americans can't play football. So it's incredible to see you guys playing at the highest level and ultimately in the one of the world's greatest events. So we're very excited to watch you play, and we can't wait.